she come. The reality comes. Shades on. She's the real deal. Here she comes. The reality comes. Shades on. Knowledge, wisdom.
Well, hello, beautiful. You look absolutely stunning.
Again, I'm a reflection of you, and your energy is awesome. I love it.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. To God be the glory, because, honey, he's the only reason behind this story. And let me just give you, this is your first time on here, so let me explain to you why I have the sunglasses on. What I do with the sunglasses is God gave this to me. I put shades on because a lot of times people don't want to see the truth, but you're going to always hear the truth. If you are born blind and deaf, then you're going to have to do one or the other, and some don't work. So I always say, whenever you see me take the sunglasses off, it's because people don't want to see the truth. When they're on. But then when it's time to get real and people need to see and hear the truth, I'll take the sunglasses off. And if I feel like they don't, okay, y'all, this is something y'all may not want to see, but you're going to hear it back on. So nonetheless, let me just say, first of all, thank you so much for coming on to give your journey, share your journey, because this is a very difficult topic for people to talk about. I have people that have some horrifying stories that still don't want to come out and talk about it, but they will talk to me about it. And this month is Domestic Violence Survivors. It's dedicated to those who have survived domestic violence. And a lot of times people think it's only a physical thing, but I want to talk about the whole realm of domestic violence. It's mental, emotional, physical, and financially. Those are four elements of it all. Because each one of them can make you stay in a situation that's toxic. So without further ado, I will allow you to introduce yourself. Please share.
Before I do, let me go into do not disturb on my phone.
Oh, thank you for reminding me.
Yes. Because we're going to have problems. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. Greetings, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. I am Sister Danielle X here in Dallas, Texas, part of Muhammad Mosque number 48, a spot on the map of the Nation of Islam. I also have a nonprofit organization that's titled Silent Crimes. In Silent Crimes, we work on and with women and girls who have been caught up in sex trafficking, in a sense, who are trying to get away, trying to gain resources, understanding of what that looks like to get away from their attacker, their kidnapper, the John Doe. Also bring awareness to the conversation of organ harvesting, how organ harvesting is also too $1 trillion industry on the black market. And even with selling our melanin, how our people are taken and kidnapped to sell our melanin, and not even knowing that. So when you find somebody who's been missing and their body has been cut open and glued together or stitched together because their organs have been taken away, somebody who's needing a new heart, new kidney, new liver, new spleen, whatever it may be, our people are taken, kidnapped, and robbed of our organs. She done dropped the glasses. And then too, we also go into the conversation of domestic abuse and molestation, how most times we are not heard. And people can many times, I'm sorry. Yes.
I like the word molestation, but I want people to understand rape is involved in that.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what I was just telling someone. People look at molestation as not as bad as rape, but it's even worse because a little child don't have a choice.
Yeah, that's true.
So go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. The point in that, she's saying that because we play with words, and for me, dealing with it on an everyday basis, the word playing does matter, and not to kill the pain or the trauma that comes with being raped, but to continuously say the word over and over again for someone who's been in a situation like that, that's a trigger. So I have to be careful in my wording for my sanity and my peace to be able to have a decent conversation about the matter and not trigger myself in the conversation. or bringing awareness to the topic. So again, we go over sex trafficking, human trafficking, organ harvesting, domestic abuse, and molestation. We have women who are going through it, trying to get away. We buy them flights out the city or the state, get them hotel accommodations for women and children who are trying to get away from their husband or their boyfriend or girlfriend. We help them find jobs, help them get clothes for interview, help them get their IDs, their birth certificates. We help, is my point, in that nonprofit base to be able to help a woman get back on her base and understand it's not her fault. We help to get them counseling or auditing to be able to get them out of the moment and be in the current time. We call it present time. You're here now. What happened before, you don't have to stay there mentally, emotionally. So our job is to be able to help our people get out of this rut of emotions.
Okay, so let me ask you, now it's getting ready to get a little personal, and if it gets too personal, you can just cut me off. And if you feel yourself getting emotional and getting caught up and it's a trigger, all you gotta do is just
yes, ma'am. Yes, okay, ma'am.
So, this is some truth y'all may not want to hear, may not want to see, but you're gonna hear, or you may not want to hear, but you're gonna see. Yes. So why is it that are you a survivor?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Of which, molestation or sex trafficking, or all of pretty much?
Molestation, yes. Rape, yes. And abuse, domestic abuse.
Were you molested as a child?
Yes, ma'am.
And was it a close family member or a distant?
It was a member of the family, and also someone I went to school with. I wouldn't call them my friend, but someone that I knew in the neighborhood.
Okay, and the reason why this topic is so special to me is because I wrote a whole book about it.
You told me. And
here's the book.
Yes,
and it looks like the man. The reason why this is on the cover, because although I wasn't physically abused, but the mental scars, I started beating myself. What happened with me? So nonetheless, and it's entitled "The Reality of Abuse: The Aftermath and the Recovery." And the reason why the title is so impactful, because first of all, in order for you to even begin to understand that you're in the after, it's like an earthquake. There's always an aftershock. You got to know that you've had an earthquake in order to understand the aftershock. And with abuse, you got to understand that you're being abused in order to understand the aftermath.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can get to your recovery. And my abuser was the pastor of the church.
Yes, ma'am.
Who was my stepfather.
Yes, ma'am.
My relationship with my family is flawed at this point in time because they don't want you to talk about it. Because some of them live in a world where their world was perfect at my expense. Well, it's time out for that. And this is why this is so important. And then for those of you who think I'm is not bold enough to do this, but I'm just going to tell you what I'm sitting to do. And I'm saying it in Yvonne because I want people to understand this is how real this is to me.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
My son has been given a life sentence for rape. Although the devil will use whatever he can when you're choosing. Well, people may not say the devil or the spirit, whatever you believe is evil. Evil will use whatever weapon he can to try to shut you up, to shut you down, because you're bringing light in a dark place.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, for those of you who are watching and think that I ain't bold enough to say, I get text messages all the time. You want to talk about violence, you want to talk about this, and your son is a rapist. Well, my son was doing things that he shouldn't have been done, but rapist, he's not. He was involved in what you call prostitution, sex fun, whatever you want to call it. But rape is not the same thing.
Yes,
and it's proven that he didn't rape these people. But Dallas County, as usual, they do a lot of stuff that's not right. And I'm sure you can attest to this. When it's someone, when they have a target on someone to be the fall guy to cover up for someone that they want to keep hidden or keep their secret, or there's enough cushion money,
Yes, ma'am.
they'll sacrifice anybody.
And the thing about that is that it's unfortunate that in our communities, Miss Dorothy, that we suffer the most. And in the suffering, it's a every minute thing. And the pain that we experience in our communities, no one can really understand it because they're not going through it. But on the other side of the coin, if another person was to rape or to molest or to abuse or traffic, that they'll get off. It's always a law created. And with the law being created, there's a back door for them to get away. But for us, we don't know the laws that way to be able to maneuver through the situation. So, hey, you know what? We're stuck. Lawyer, we got a free lawyer, right? Or we got a lawyer who got paid off already in advance. And in that, they can't fight for you as if you had $1 million, you know, or you had a, yes, ma'am. So that,
you better tell the truth. Speak the truth. I need a tambourine or something.
Yes, ma'am. But we have to, and that's the thing about this, even with trafficking, it's like it happens in our communities as prostitution. But on the bigger level, like Epstein, for example, this is $1 million man who has a whole island that's knowingly having this island selling women and girls and boys to politicians, to lawyers, to doctors.
Okay, now your volume went down. Now see, that's how when you're getting in the fat of things, the volume will go down. So try to avoid saying names. You can use initials, but when you use high profile names and you call it for what it really is, this is what happens. The volume goes out.
Yes, now okay, well, I'll go back. When you have certain individuals who they're part of the problem, but they have money to be able to deal with it, because trafficking is a $1 trillion industry, right?
And hold on, Danielle, make sure that people understand these are not small commoners that are involved in this. In order for it to be $1 billion business, it's got to be billionaires involved in it. And then they go and give the crumbs to the millionaires, and then the millionaires give it to the trillionaires, and the trillionaires give it to just so it's a cycle. They feed you a little bit of money at a time to see how far you're willing to sell your soul for that money. Okay, so now go ahead. It's $1 billion industry.
No, it's a $1 trillion industry.
Okay.
Yes. And so for us, for you and I being in Dallas, a girl is being snatched every 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Every 3 minutes, a person is being snatched, not for I ran away from home or I'm mad at my mom, which does happen. My big mama made me mad, but they're taken out of schools, playgrounds, clubs, strip clubs.
Is this factual?
Google it.
Google it. I just want people to understand. Fact check what she's saying. Fact check.
Google it. And it's happening. Texas is number 2 in the U.S. for trafficking. Dallas is number 2 in the state of Texas for trafficking. California is number 1. And it's building and growing daily. And it's so many women and girls and boys and men who are being taken out of their own peaceful place and being sold under pressure, abuse. They're being drugged. I've met with many women who have marked how many men have raped them in a day through trafficking. And a woman told me in 4 years recently, I talked to her recently, that in a 4-year period, it was over 1,500 men who raped her through trafficking alone. Now, you have what's called, Ms. Dorothy, you have what's called breeders. And some women are only used to have babies. And with those babies, they're taken, when they have the baby, that baby is taken from them, reared up, grow up to be a new toy for a man or a woman who is not here in the mental right. Some men have fetishes and wanting babies. So they have women who will get pregnant over and over again, used to breed these children, and they are used in trafficking. There are some very sick individuals in churches, synagogues, or religious bases, multi-billion-dollar companies who are involved in the activity. We won't call names, but when you think about it, in the comfort of your own home, it's happening frequently, Miss Dorothy, and we have to find a way in our communities to stop it, so that your son won't be another one 5 years from now or 5 months from now, being used as an example to this pressure of what's happening in the community with these women who are selling themselves, and it's not even voluntarily. Most of them are stuck in trafficking.
Okay, now let me ask you this.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so you just said something
Okay.
about my son. Now, my son didn't know what he was into.
Exactly.
He obviously didn't know how deep it, it
Exactly.
was. And and then they made his bond so high, $750,000, to where he couldn't get out here to his mother. First of all, he is a college graduate from Texas A&M, cum laude, never had any type of criminal history, none of that. Had a home and a letter from his job stating that he could go back to work. So why was his bond set so high? And then the problem with all of this is the magistrate of the court told my son, they told me to set your bond this high. I want to know who is they, but they wouldn't let me in. They kept me out. So now, because this system is so big, this corruption is so vast, I would have never known that this type of corruption goes on if my child had not landed in this disposition.
And you know what, Miss Dorothy, by you saying that, many people don't understand what's going on until it happens to them personally. And we ignore, that ain't got nothing to do with me, but it does. But when they knock at your door, you want the community, you want the state, you want the whole U.S. to help and render aid to you. But those small little incidents that happen when you missed it or you ignored it can very much be you tomorrow, easily.
And let me tell you, what she's saying is so true. However, you can fact check me. I've been out here fighting with justice and fighting for justice because of injustice. And a lot of people say fighting for justice. I'm fighting because of injustice for sure. But I fight for justice not for myself, not just for my children, but like I told my son, I said, sometimes you got to be the sacrificial lamb in order to save someone else. I said, son, if you got to go through this for your 2 Black boys, then that's what that is, because you don't want your children to go through what I've been through. That's why, as a hairstylist, I did not work on Saturdays for 10 years, because I did not want my children to be left with someone, and I wanted to spend quality time with them to teach them and train them up in a way that they should go.
Yes,
so they would know nobody is to touch you like this. Nobody. So I did that. And the problem now is we have so many mothers that sit back, like my mother, because you're the first lady of the church, you act like you don't see what's going on.
You know what, Miss Dorothy? I was talking to, it was an interview I watched online, and there was a sister who used to be a recruiter for trafficking, and she said, guess where my #1 place to go to get my next victims of recruiting done was at? Where?
Church.
Yes, ma'am. And the reason why she went to church, because that's when people are vulnerable. I come to the Lord full and heavy and weighty, and I'm lost and confused, like, God, please help me get past what I'm going through. And here she comes behind you, rubbing your back, comforting you, it's going to be okay. Then building a relationship with those people and eventually grooming them and then putting them into trafficking. Now, I want to say this right here, that I don't want to make it religious based, because it's not, because it can happen anywhere. I want to be clear on that. But that particular interview, when you made that comment, Ms. Dorothy, about your situation and how that works out for you, it does happen. It happens everywhere. But I just want to put that disclaimer out there that it's not that.
I wrote a whole chapter on that, and it's entitled Holy Rollers. sitting in church, and I'll just read to you. And this is how it starts out. My. How can we not see the holy rollers show off who come to church dressed to impress and give to expect, sitting in the amen corner. Mm-hmm. Ain't those first ladies dressed to the nine? They giving you a dream. They rubbing you and patting on your back, but yet they'll sell you out for that man.
Yes, ma'am.
So-called man of God. And then they have to turn their nose down at you.
Yes, ma'am.
When you stand apart. They get jealous of you.
Yes, ma'am.
It's so sad. Now, and then the chapter before that is called the pulpit performance. That's the pastors of the church. And it's called PULL-PIT.
Wow.
Pull you into a pit instead of a pit.
Yes,
and then they got all these people sitting there watching what they do. And let me tell you, my mother told me point blank out of her mouth. Well, first of all, the man of the church told me she'll never. Let me put these on because this is something you might not want to see, but you can ready hear. He will never believe you. She will never believe you over me. And you know what? That's why that my came in. He was right. Because when I finally told my mother about what happened with me, she asked me, was my 7-year-old son his?
Wow.
And then right now, they have the nerve to look down at my son. Nobody looking at what was done to me by a grown man. Now, my son is out here messing with women that are in an industry where he's supposed to pay them. He wasn't paying them all that they want. You know, they want $450. He only got $20. He was uptown. He should have been downtown where it's $20 because your money can't pay $450 an hour. Yes, but nonetheless, and that's no pun intended. That's just the raw but real truth. And I'm all about that. That's why I go by the reality coach. It's real. It's 100% authentic. My truth. Nonetheless, they look at me like I'm a problem. And they look down on him. But they ain't looking at what was done to me as a child. It started at 5 years old, as far back as I can remember.
Yes, ma'am.
And it went on. And not found out that he didn't only do it to me, he did it to my sisters older than myself.
Wow. Yes, ma'am.
And when I asked her why did she marry him anyway, knowing this before she married him, she said she watched them closer.
Okay, yeah. If I had some glasses on, I would put mine on too. But I want to go back to the beginning for us here in America in 1555 when the slave ships came. I'm gonna give a visual.
And fact check of 15. What year was that?
1555.
Okay.
1555 is when the slave ships came from the east, from Africa, from the Holy Land to America. And in that trip, we didn't experience that kind of behavior in the Holy Land. We didn't experience being molested, raped, tricked, lied, even being lied to, right? We come here to a strange land among strange people, different language, talk a different God. And in that, the activity was rape happening on top of other things. So if we're going back 400 years, right? Going back to the time where your great-great-great-grandmother came over here, she was raped, had children. They were raped, had children. And now we're here. So my point in saying that, because it's so much trauma that has happened in our communities. And so when we talk about, go on to my house, stay in my house.
Girl, you know what? Did you read this?
No, ma'am.
That is that saying. That saying is in this book.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But it's a common thing that we are told. Like we're told that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's not true. Words do hurt. Words matter. But when you talk about keeping secrets, so we're taught as children to lie. We're taught as children to have secrets. But we lie about so much to our children. But when they lie to us, we get mad. Why you mad? You mad, right? So my point in that is saying that it's so much trauma that has happened over so many years when it comes to rape. And so people they're wired wrong. And some of us have become immune to the toxic behavior of that rape or molestation being normal. That's not normal. It's not normal to sell your child for groceries. That's not normal. It's not normal to sell your little girl because the man he'll leave you if you don't give it to him. That's not normal. But we settle with your child coming to you, mommy, your boyfriend raped me. And mommy say, well, I found me a good man. Every good man I find, you come to me with the same story. So that girl grows up to be an adult, and now she's so hurt because mommy didn't listen to her, or big mama didn't listen to her. She's telling you she's being molested and raped in your house while you're at home, and you do nothing. So as an adult, she's messed up. Now she done had children. Them children gonna be messed up, and then it's there. Or your mother may ask you, what you do to make him do that to you? She's 3, 4 years old.
You just fast.
So again, at my point, the next part is, as a mother, as a father, as an aunt, an uncle, a pastor, a counselor, a mentor, whatever you are, we have to make a way for children to be comfortable in having those uncomfortable conversations. We're so busy in our own space, in our own head, in our own emotions, that children hurt too. And when they're hurting, we have to make a comfortable place for them to be able to tell you what's happening and not invalidate what they're telling you. Now, it happened to me.
Right.
And why lie? If I'm lying, it'll come up. Some people do lie.
One thing about the lie, it'll always tell the truth on you.
Exactly. So but if it keeps happening and happening, don't invalidate. And also, too, I want to be clear that there are boys and men out here who have been raped.
Oh, you took it out of my mouth. You go ahead and tell me, girl. Go ahead.
There are boys that become men and boys who are still boys who are being molested by their papa, their father, the pastor, the cousin, the teacher, the coach. It's happening. And they're so ashamed that it's happening to a man's ego, to a boy's ego. That hurts. But then you have some boys who think that is cute. You know what I'm saying? She hooked me up. That was rape. You know what I'm saying? It felt good to them. So let me keep letting it happen over and over. You're only 8, 9 years old. That's rape. It don't matter. But we have to make sure that we as adults, anybody 18 and older, let's start listening to our children, to our grandchildren, to children in our community. Don't quit talking so much. Listen to what they are telling you and read between the lines. It may be an indirect statement. You as the adult, put the pieces together.
Can you give an indirect statement? An example?
Yeah, my stomach is hurting me so bad lately, and every time that Uncle X, Y, and Z is home, I get these butterflies, it's pain in my stomach. This is a true story. And I don't like when he comes over here. Because whenever he comes over here, I feel uncomfortable. And it's not that bad though. Don't worry about it. I don't want to make problems. I'll just, I'll figure it out.
And here's another example. When a child is crying and adamant about not staying with someone.
Yes.
I don't care where you got to go to work. I don't care what you got to do. If your child is screaming at the top of their lungs that they do not want to stay with this person, it ain't because that child is just being rebellious and want to go with you. No. You know the difference. When a child is holding on to your leg saying, I don't want to stay, screaming, I don't care if that child is 1, 2, 3, that baby, it's just like a little dog.
Yes, ma'am.
I hate to say it that way, but a little puppy will let you know when it don't want to be somewhere. It will pull back on that leash. It will do everything it can.
Yes, ma'am.
Stay away from you or where you're trying to take them. So y'all and quit telling boys that they ought not cry. Why not? It's an emotion God gave you. Tears are real. Cry. And then you said something, Danielle, that was very important. word choices. Word choices. You have to be careful because words are so manipulated now. And see, now in school, they're doing this. My grandson came home and told me his partner at school. I hit the floor. Let me put my shades on because y'all, this is some truth you may not want to see, but you can ready to hear. I got hotter than burnt fish grease in a black skillet in the ground outside in the camp yard. And I'm going to tell you why. Partner is not a good word for a cute little boy.
No.
And I'm going to tell you why, people. Y'all got to be smart because we're living in a time where you got to be wise as a serpent, gentle as a dove. I told my grandbaby, I said, you don't have no partner. Not at school. You don't have no partner nowhere. And his mother didn't understand, but I know. And the reason why I explained to my grandson, I said, the reason why is because the word partner has been taken to another dynamic in another realm over here. I didn't say it like that. I said partner is not the same as it was when I was a little kid now.
No.
You have, and it's a shame you got to teach a 9-year-old these type of things now. I said you have men that are doing the same in the same type of relationship as man and woman, and they're called partners. So son, grandbaby, I said, I'm trying not to say his name. Grandbaby, listen, if someone tells you that they're your partner, tell them, no, you're my classmate, teammate, my school friend, everything, but not a partner. And the reason why I'm so adamant about that is because my grandbabies are handsome. They mixed, very handsome. And I don't want them to grow up and this perverted man comes along and say, let's be partners. And because they've been trained as a child that it's okay for a grown-up to say that they're your partner, and they go with this person, and that person has a demented mind.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's why I have, when you said that about word choices, people, unfortunately, a rainbow ain't even a rainbow no more.
No.
That part.
No. Yeah, and I want to say that because I know the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan made it very clear because he's been called anti-Semitic in the past and he's against the gays.
So he just ignorant. You know, he ignorant. He ain't got good sense. He just all over the place. That's what they say.
They say that. And the thing,
that's what they say. But he's a wise man. He's giving you something that they don't want you to have. Common freaking sense.
Yes. So in him talking about, because he said, I love everybody. I understand what's happening. See, the agenda is bigger than you and I. This whole lifestyle, I mean, people choose what they want to choose. I cannot change that. That's not my role. I know what I like. You know what I'm saying? But I can't speak for somebody else. But in the school systems now, children are being forced to have their agenda. They're not given their free opportunity to say, you know, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. But again, people are able to do what they do. And I don't discriminate, but don't force it on our children. Don't force that lifestyle. If they choose to do what they do in the future, that's on them. But as a parent, let me raise my child the way I want to raise my child. If I want my child to do what the books say, then I have to be able to do and be obedient to God. I can't change the way that God formulated the words in his books with an X. So when the words taken out of context, the flags and whatnot are moved around, they're forcing activity through music, through clothes, through dances, through conversations, through reading a book at the school now, a storytelling time. Now they have books to where children, it used to be called ABC. Now it's called GayBC. It's a book in the child's library. And now they're closing libraries down in the school. Why? To prevent issues, but our children are being forced through social medias and through talking at school with their teachers who are given a program to teach them. They don't teach their own curriculum. They are given a curriculum to teach the children. If they don't do it, they get fired. That's it. And so it's a very sticky place to be. So when you hear the word partner, the verbiage has changed. Just like stranger danger, we were taught stranger danger growing up, and I will say stranger danger because I'm not comfortable in an environment. Now they have people so comfortable with riding in a Lyft and an Uber. That's stranger. That's a complete stranger. You got in a car with someone you do not know who has the address for you to drop them off. Right? It's uncomfortable for a woman. And I want to, when I'm on that, women, sisters, even for the young men, that when you're in an Uber or Lyft, let someone know where you're going. I know you're grown. You've been grown for a long time. I get it. But at the same time, it's that quick for the man to go left and not go right. It's
and
so
don't
quick.
think that it won't happen to you. That's the problem. People, please hear this young lady. She's telling you something that she knows. This is why she started this organization. She knows what she's talking about. You don't want to believe it. You can fact check her. Fact check it. Keep going. Please keep sharing this. I just wanted to say, people, please listen.
Yeah. When you're getting in an Uber or a Lyft, the first thing you want to do is you want to match the license plate with the license plate on the car. I have it in my phone. Hey, it says XYZ123. Check it. Get to the car door. You want to check the person. What's your name? Don't give it what you got in your phone, right? What's your name? Oh, my name is Steve. Okay, Steve. Okay, want to make sure? Okay. Make sure that when you get in the car that the windows are not locked. You want to make sure the child-proof lock is not on. You want to unlock it from the door. You want to let them know, hey, the windows are locked. Can you unlock it for me? Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Yeah. You want to make sure you crack your window a little bit. Now, if it comes down to you having to escape and get away, use your shoe. It may hurt. I get it. But you have things with you to be able to bust the window if you have to get away. But never sit at an angle of your driver. Your driver, you're behind the passenger seat. You want to sit behind them. You want to make sure that you're always equipped to have a weapon in your hand. A key is a weapon. I don't know about y'all from the hood, one-on-one, but that key between them fingers can be a weapon. Now, my martial art teacher, Grandmaster Abdul Aziz Muhammad, goes through steps for women to defend themselves. You never get put in a position where you're uncomfortable. No means no. So if I'm not comfortable being in an Uber or a Lyft with you, I have to, like, you know what? I'm going to get out. And you get out. If they don't want you to get out, bust the window with your cell phone, your foot, your backpack, your purse, whatever you have, you get out. Never settle with, oh man, I already paid for the Uber. I'm stuck. No, I'm uncomfortable. And as many women who get through Ubers and Lyft and don't communicate with anybody, they're riding in the car on their phone, running their mouth, which can be a good thing, but they're not alert of the exit. Next thing you know, he done went left and you're supposed to go right. And you didn't even see it. Now we're all pulling up at a warehouse or a trap house. Why are we here?
What is a trap house?
A trap house is a place where illegal activity happens.
Just so I make sure they know.
Yes, ma'am. And even with that, the trap house is the spot, they call it. There's activity that happens with trafficking, selling of drugs, women, men, alcohol,
boys, whatever.
Yeah. And two, I know that a lot of times we are so caught in our own space, Miss Dorothy. And so you see a car with a whole bunch of children and one adult. Say something. I just want to call and something kind of didn't sit well with me, but I see 13 little girls getting out of a van with this man, license plate number so and so, 4-door vehicle, Chevrolet. Report it.
Okay, now that's some great information, but here's now this is some ugly truth that you may not want to see, but you can ready to hear. When you dial 911, sometimes they the ones that just say no, no, no to.
But you want to have it documented. You might have your homies in the hood who you can call, but at least you made that legal documentation that I did call and I did let you know. Now, when I take it into my own hands and call Ray Ray in there, you can't be mad. I called you and nobody showed up. Or
and I keep looking down at my phone. Someone said I'm looking down because they texting me left and right. Someone said the key in the hand go for the throat or the eye.
Absolutely. Anywhere where it's thin skin. The eye is thin skin. The lip is a thin skin. The throat right here, this area right here is the throat, a thin skin. The temple area is thin skin. Just FYI.
And then they said, whatever happens, oh well.
What I will say this. I've been taught we're never the aggressor. But we fight with those who fight with us. And if we must fight, we fight to the death. What you don't want to have happen is go from point A to point B. I'm not going to point B.
Oh,
if I have to die,
someone did say that the best thing someone can do if they are feeling threatened and they're trying to say, like, example, if someone pulls a gun and says, you got to go with me, the best thing they say is go ahead and die right there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
That's what you're talking about, right?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm not going to step B, but in that, whenever you're being attacked by anybody who's aggressing you, you want to definitely do something to leave your mark on that person. Bite them on their jaw. You're the only one who has that teeth pattern, that mouth pattern. You bite them on their jaw. So when they go in the lineup, it's on their face. Whenever you are being attacked, scratch them. You have DNA under your fingernails, right? You want to be smart about it. You want to leave it, but you fight until you can't fight. And even when you feel you can't fight anymore, still fight. I'm going to strive to do. The only person that I will submit to is God. You are not my God. And I will fight you until I can't fight you anymore. Yes, ma'am.
That's okay. Now, so what would you say? What would be some advice you would give to a child who may be with their mommy or their father or someone that they're taking, because they will take you with your kids too, because then they'll tell the whole family.
Yes, ma'am.
So what advice can you give to a child? Because children are wise nowadays. I mean, my grandson is 5 years old and he's using words that I never thought we would I didn't even know.
Yes, ma'am.
And instead of saying a wreck, he's saying accident. You know, we say crash, he gonna hit the wall, mess up his car, something like that at that age. But these kids are smart. And,
very much so.
And what would you give advice to some children who may find themselves in that situation where their mommy or father or someone is being taken?
The child, the parents being taken, and the child is not, right?
Well, the whole family, the child, they can't watch everybody at one time. So the child can do something. What would you say for the parent to teach their children a code word or some type of something? Because we have to prepare for all types of matters to happen. So what would you say that parents can teach their children to do?
The first thing I would say is to teach your children to listen. We have to have clear communication. And a child should know when you're being laughy, goofy, and when you're being serious. And don't always be serious all the time. So I won't know you being serious because you're always serious. That makes sense? So have that comfortable conversation with them to like, okay, well, mommy does X, Y, and Z. Listen to me. When I'm in the house and a man comes to the front door, a stranger comes to, you all can't be in the house, running around the house loud. I need everybody to be quiet and learn how to be quiet, because children don't know how to be quiet. Number two, I would say that when you're in the grocery store, make sure your children stay by you. Don't wander through Walmart eating on grapes and strawberries, looking for toys. Want to look at the bikes, mommy, I'll be back. No. You stay with me the whole time with this cart, and we're going to roll together. We're going to come in together. We're going to leave together. If a child if they're watching someone, their mom, their dad being taken or kidnapped or being aggressed, they have to learn to use their voice. Don't say fire. That will get everybody's attention. Fire, fire, fire. You scream it as loud as you can. And by being a child's voice, people are going to listen.
So that would be considered a code word.
Yes.
Find a code word.
Yes.
That can save your life with your children. Yes. Teach your children, and y'all, we telling you, we not sharing this just to be sharing it. This is some real life stuff that goes on, and that's why I'm hitting these key factors. And this is someone who specializes in this, who has an organization entitled
Silent Crimes,
and there's a reason for that.
Oh yes, ma'am. So you teach them to be observant, and even in the store, you may check them every now and again. You see that man in the green shirt?
Mm-hmm.
No. You see that man with that orange hat on? What color car he get in? I don't know. But you teach them how to observe people's motion. Because understand that when you're at the grocery store, when you come to trafficking, some stores can be paid off involved in the trafficking. So you may go to a manager and say, my child is missing. They probably not going to help you because they're involved in what happened. So the thing for that, and mothers who have multiple children, try your best. I know sometimes it can be hard, but try your best to not take all your children to the store with you, because you can only watch one. But when you have 5 children, it may be a bit challenging, or have someone come with you. I shop while you watch my children. Help me get the bread, the eggs, the milk, the butter, the Lunchables, the lunch meat, the hot dogs, whatever it may be. Help me. And have your homegirl, your mama, cousin go with you. Now, in that, they can't be lackadaisy all the way over by the candles. No, you have been given an assignment, Miss Dorothy. You have been given an assignment. We going to the store. We're going to the store to get some stuff. I didn't ask you. You bought a whole comforter. We're not over there. We ain't here to get the eggs, the milk, the butter, and the bread.
That part. So, baby, I'll be for real about these sunglasses. I mean, these people don't want to hear this, but they don't want to see it, but they got to hear it. You are doing something that's real talk. Yeah,
and then too, I've noticed through situations that people have come to the school because they watch your children, and we so
caught up in our own little cell phone, text message. Whatever you got going on. And this is all part of the grand plan, is to get your mind, to manipulate your mind. And then, y'all, quit paying attention to all these stories. Have you not noticed that all the news media does is promote trauma?
Yes, ma'am.
Because trauma is what you have to get to first in order to be mentally manipulated.
Because you gotta look at all these. I don't watch TV like that, but all these reality shows, they're depressing.
And they ain't real reality.
And not just even that, but you have your own financial, mental, emotional problem. Why are you gonna catch yourself and entertained by somebody else's problems? Stop. So you know more about their problem than your own child who got raped yesterday.
And stop giving all your money to the church. I'm tired of y'all giving all the money to the church. Don't. But I want
to make a point that how often have we took the time out of our day and look up at the sky? Not many times. You don't know what's going on in the sky, and they know that because you're so caught up in your phone. Then you go from your car on the phone to your house on the phone, go back to your car. You don't even look up. So there's going to be a battle in the skies, like the book say. But we're not looking at what's going on. We're so caught up in so much. Number one. Number two, you want to be able to teach your children.
Wait. Hold on. Just 1 second. Go back to what you just said. I think they may have missed that. So I had to take my shades off so I can make sure I seen and heard what you just said. There will be a battle in the sky.
Yes, ma'am.
What you want to?
My head, your brain.
Okay.
Your brain. Because if you in the battle between false and true, or it's so many things that happen because we're so caught up in social media and other celebrities' lives and so much drama, and it's sickening. And they sit back. The devil sit back and watch it, and they like that. So you can't. So our children can't multiply 5 times 5. Why? They in their phone or their iPad. We learn to multiply. How many of our children know how to write in cursive? Not many. They took that out to school. We had penmanship classes growing up. They don't have penmanship classes growing up anymore. So it's a reason for that.
Memorization too. We had memorization. They didn't took all that. You can't even find the game concentration no more.
We watched a show called Schoolhouse Rock. And Schoolhouse Rock had a song on there called Conjunction Junction.
What's your function? Looking out for.
Oh, I'm just a bill.
On Capitol Hill. Baby, those was the shows. And then let me tell you, and see, and in this book, y'all, they don't want this book out here, but it's gonna get out here. In this book, it tells you when the trajectory for our people changed. They took us from good times to the Cosbys. Well, let me just tell you, ain't nothing wrong with the Cosby, but there was more good times. Families.
Yeah, and now we're dealing with a whole. I don't even know what's going on right now with TV. I don't keep up because it's so much negative. It just drains your energy to sit for something, and people binge watch these shows. Like, huh? It's people. I don't understand how you do that, but everybody's different. I'm gonna say that. But when you ask the question about our children, I would advise the women and men to get your children some self-defense classes.
Okay.
They don't want to be Kung Fu Panda. I get it. And some people are uncomfortable because a lot of times women who have been abused don't like doing martial arts. Why? Because that man who grabbed you by your neck and hit you in your face and kicked you in your stomach, you don't want to feel that again. So if I get grabbed, and it could just be training. I'm training. I'm learning to defend myself. But when that man grabbed me, I was triggered. Now I start coming to class. I don't want to come to class no more. Why you don't come to class anymore? Oh, well, I have to go to work, and I've been doing a lot of overtime at work, and I just don't feel comfortable, doing it. But maybe one day I'll come back soon.
And you become a professional liar. Oh, and they can lie. So we can we can lie good, can't we?
Yes, ma'am. And so I would say that to have your children at a young age, and women, again, for you don't have to be Wonder Woman and She-Ra. You don't have to be that. But when that man come and grab you from behind your neck and he choking you and saying, if you don't come with me, I'm gonna kill you. Guess what? We in the pub. I'm gonna make it known so loud. I'm gonna have my earphone in my ear and I'm gonna play it off. Oh, okay, hold on. He's grabbing me. Call 911. I ain't got nobody on the phone. I'm gonna act like I got somebody on this phone. I'm at so and so location. They'll let you go. They don't know if you're being for real or not. Being alert of your surroundings. When you get in your car, sisters, when you get in the car from work or at school or your house, apartment complex, check your back seat before you get in your car. It may be a person in your back seat. You probably didn't even lock your car. You didn't even know it. Never ride in the car with your purse in the front seat. Never go to an ATM machine with your body hanging out your window. Because if you hang out the window, look, you out the window putting your code in the your body's out. You stuck. How can you respond like this? You can't. And it's dark outside.
Okay, now you are such a wealth of information, and I know you know. Now, can you the post says how to mend a broken heart. Can you give us a little bit about what's going on with that? And it's on October 7th.
Yes, this Saturday, this Saturday at 2 p.m. We are going to be at 24 29 MLK Boulevard. If you are in the Dallas, Richardson, McKinney, Fort Worth, Euless, drive up. It's a free event, but I do encourage you all to RSVP so I can kind of know who's coming, who's not coming. I want you all to text the word thankful to phone number 972-388-1300. That's 972-388-1300. Text the word thankful. One of my team members will respond, and you'll have the information. If you need the address again, we'll give you the address again and the flyer. It's for men and women. It's a family-friendly environment. No one will be uncomfortable. We're not going to discuss the trauma of domestic abuse. We're going to focus on the healing of abuse. It happened to you. Things were going on. You accepted what's happening, or you may not have accepted it. But guess what? We're going to help you get past the grabbing, the choking, the kicking, the blood. We're going to get past all of that.
So so after this event, on October 7th at 2 o'clock from 2 o'clock to 4:30.
Yes.
After you text the word thankful to 972-388-1300. Now, y'all, she's serious about that because she made me text it. I'm just saying I had text thankful, but I'm just saying she for real about what she's doing, y'all. But anyway, so will there be some areas where they can continue to get help after
Absolutely.
This? Okay.
Absolutely. There, I will have some individuals who are certified auditors, but we may call them counselors, who will be on site and be able to help you. If you have that moment where you've been re-stimulated, we're going to grab you, we're going to help you. And then after this event here, we'll have phone numbers you can call. You need more counseling or more auditing to be able to help you, we're there for you.
Wow. So real quickly, before we get off of here, you have been just phenomenal. And let me put these shades on, because I mean, this is some truth you may not want to see, but you're going to hear. This woman here, y'all, and I'm gonna tell you, we don't know each other. We met through someone else, and this is how this is all working. People of God are coming together, they're being connected, like connect the dot. You don't even see connect the dot no more. You remember we used to have that too. You don't see connect the dot no more. So it's all being connected, and more than likely, y'all, this probably will. You heard the sound check go on in the beginning.
Yeah.
This more than likely will have to be something that it's recorded. So if someone doesn't get this, let me know. But back to this young lady, she didn't start this just for the attention. She started this with an intention to end the tension of abuse.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is the drama that is left in your mind. We're not here trying to rewind time. We're trying to get your mind caught up in the time in which you're in. Yes, that is why she started Silent Crimes Network. And this is why I wrote this book, The Reality of Abuse, The Aftermath and the Recovery. And the audio book will be coming out because God told me a lot of people don't want to take time out to read a book, but they'll take time to listen to the book. So the audio book will be out the middle of the month. Nonetheless, I just want to say, am I correct? You started this organization to help because you can not only help from someone else's story, you can help from your own journey.
Yes, ma'am. That's why I believe that to be true, because my pain has become my fuel. And I didn't understand.
I'm not steal that one. Let's say it again. My pain become my fuel. Okay, y'all.
Yes, but I wondered as a child, I would ask God, you're real, but where are you in my pain? I don't believe you to be here. Where are you at? I just don't understand why I'm going through that. Guess what? Now I do. So he had to take me to go through the painful situation, not from a Google or from a YouTube video, but I lived it. And so with that pain that I lived and experienced, now I'm speaking from factual living experiences. So now I'm able to help you get through your pain and your trauma and your tears and the I don't knows and I want to give up. I understand it.
Okay, so y'all, how to mend a broken heart, not necessarily a broken heart from a relationship, but a broken heart from any relationship.
Yes.
She's here to help you on Saturday, October 7th, 2023, 2:00 p.m. And if you want to go, please text thankful to the number 972-388-1300. Well,
Yes,
Danielle X, thank you so much. And I
Yes,
would
ma'am.
love to have you back because you are
Yes.
a light in a dark place. Be blessed.
I want to, Ms. Dorothy, I want to real quick before we hang up. I want people to know that when you're saying silent crimes with a Z, don't put the S on the end. The reason why the Z is there because we're asleep on the trauma. We're asleep on like disease. We're asleep on the murder. We're asleep on the abuse, the neglect, the abandonment. We're asleep. So I ended it with a Z, not an S.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you, my love. And like I said, you are awesome. Bye, everybody. We'll be back.
There she go, there she go. The reality leaving truth, knowledge, wisdom. Shades on. There she go, there she go. The reality leaving truth, knowledge, wisdom.